Alright, Flute, you're playing Thisbe. Is he a brave knight of some sort? Pyramus's lover. Lover? Female lover. But I've got a beard. Just wear a mask or something. But I don't want to. Just play the character. We've all seen meta in many films and movies before. Monty Python, The Office, Rick and Morty are some of the shows and movies that have employed techniques such as breaking the fourth wall. Around the mid-1590s, William Shakespeare was a pioneer of meta techniques in his play A Midsummer's Night Dream. We're going to explore this further in this video. When you think of Shakespeare, an image of being stuck in a classroom, writing long essays while being lost in the language used in the text probably comes into your mind first. However, back in Shakespeare's day, crowds of people packed into stadiums watching tragedies and comedies alike. In Midsummer's Night Dream, a group of common folk decide to perform a play for King Theseus's wedding anniversary. The play is called Pyramus and Thisbe. This play highlights a technique that is used by Shakespeare called metatheatre. Metatheatre is a theatrical device that draws attention to the nature of theatre and the audience's role in it. Or in short, it's basically a play within a play. Let's circle back to the skit I presented earlier. This dialogue highlights an interesting thing about Shakespeare's play. They were all performed exclusively by men. So if you imagine Theseus' wife, performed by a man. Titania, Queen of the Fairies, also performed by a man. If we look at the other texts by Shakespeare, the tragic interaction between Romeo and Juliet, you guessed it, were performed by two men. Unfortunately, due to the patriarchal views held by people during Shakespeare's time, women weren't allowed to perform. So it was quite amusing to see characters like Flute wear a mask and possibly make a falsetto voice to give the impression of Thisbe. Let's now talk about how the men in the play presented Pyramus and Thisbe. Much like a disclaimer on many YouTube videos, Quince, who basically coordinated the makings of the play, opens with a prologue about how their intention is to entertain rather than to offend. One must guess that they didn't want to get executed by the king after their performance. When thinking about prologues in the context of Shakespeare's text, Shakespeare used them to basically set the scene of the play and provide important context and character details. For example, in another play, Henry V, a character introduces the play by explaining to the audience that the play will contain many battles and fights, and that the audience should use their imagination to imagine the stage as the fields of France. Pyramus and Thisbe was an actual Babylonian play created by Ovid. The story goes that Pyramus and Thisbe grew up together and wanted to get married. However, their parents didn't approve of their union. They both flee and agree to meet under a mulberry tree. Thisbe arrives first and sees a lion. Frightened, she drops her veil. Pyramus then arrives and sees the veil and mistakenly thinks that Thisbe killed herself. And because he's a rational being, he kills himself. Thisbe returns and finds Pyramus dead, and then she kills herself as well. Wait a second. Did Shakespeare just plagiarize? Anyway, the plot of the play performed by the actors mirrors some of the events that occurred in Midsummer's Night Dream. Lysander and Hermia had a similar experience because their love was rejected and they both planned to escape into the forest. However, they didn't meet the tragic fate of Pyramus and Thisbe. Imagine going to a Shakespearean play today. You would probably be politely sitting on your seat, barely uttering a single word. Instead, you're immersed in the world that the play has created until the curtains close. This wasn't the case in Shakespeare's time. Heckling was prevalent. People would shout at the actors and even throw food. Throughout the performance of Pyramus and Thisbe in the play, the upperclassmen heckled them. We can observe this through some of the lines that Shakespeare wrote. There was a part in Pyramus and Thisbe where the lovers try to profess their love through a wall. They also attempt to kiss each other. Hippolyta, Theseus' wife, remarks that it is some of the silliest stuff that she has heard, possibly laughing at the actors' attempts
to try and capture the fleeting love of Pyramus and Thisbe. Thank you for watching.